Hello, my name is Laura Humph and I'm from Seed Yoga Therapy. And today I'm going to share with you a little bit about the difference between yoga therapy and more traditional talk therapy and general yoga classes. So if you're somebody who has done a lot of talk therapy and you have a lot of awareness and analysis and understanding, yoga therapy can be a really useful tool of taking all that knowledge that you've gained through that work and embodying it. And then if you're somebody who's really benefited from yoga and embodiment practices, again, yoga therapy can be a really useful support in tailoring embodiment, mindfulness, and meditation practices specifically to what you're working with. And so just a little bit about me. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. That's my clinical training. And then I'm also a certified yoga therapist. So I combine mental health and yoga. So in more traditional talk therapy, which has been hugely helpful for me and many others that I work with, I think it's an amazing resource and modality. And for some people, that talking piece can keep us stuck in our heads, keep us in the analysis or the understanding or the knowledge. And it can feel like, okay, well, I understand why this is happening. I understand why I have this pattern, but it's not changing, it's not shifting. And so just having awareness and just having analysis doesn't actually make things shift for a lot of folks. There needs to be some action that needs to happen. Or we need to look at it from different angles, not just the mental and the cognitive level. Also, more traditional talk therapy many times is focused on the past. So understanding who I am and why I am the way I am. Going back to family of origin work, going back to this happened in my past and this is why I am the way I am. So again, that knowledge and that understanding can be very helpful. And to a certain level, and for some folks, it can also be a place of a plateau of I get it, but now what? And then in more general yoga classes, which again, I have gotten great benefit from throughout my life, they're more general. So when I go to a yoga class and the teacher doesn't know me, doesn't know what I went through that day or that year, unless I have that relationship with that yoga teacher, they can actually work with what I'm coming with and what I might need in that moment. And there's been times where I've been to a yoga class and it's exactly what I need, and it exactly addresses where I'm at in that day. And then there's other times where I feel overwhelmed, or I feel stuck, or I feel it's too fast, or it's too slow, and I don't know what I need, but I know that this isn't it. And so finding that place where something can be tailored specifically to me is hard to find in general yoga classes. And so in yoga therapy, we tend to go a little more upstream. So we might start by understanding where this came from, where this struggle was born, how it came about. But then we don't stop there. And so everything happens in the body. So our thoughts happen in the body, our emotions happen in the body. And so taking that knowledge and that understanding and putting it into an embodied experience can sometimes make some shifts because we can learn by what our body is telling us. We also go a little bit more upstream through even learning about our physiology. And so balancing our physiology with the natural rhythms of how our body is made to function. And we do that through different lifestyle recommendations. And what I find is that when we can align our physiology to the natural rhythms of nature, we can digest things with more ease. And when I say digestion, I don't just mean digesting what we ate for breakfast, but the digestion of everything, the digestion of the argument that I might have had with my partner last night, or the fun that you might have had playing with your kid, or the beauty of watching the moon rise. All the things that we take in through our senses need to be digested so they don't get stuck in our system. And so we look at the physiology of that and we try to balance that physiology. Not only do we work with the mind, we also work with the breath, we work with the body, we work with the heart, and we work with the physiology. We also work with the nervous system. And so I specifically work with anybody that's dealing with any sort of mental health challenge. So trauma, depression, grief, anxiety, or the struggle to love the body you live in. So just to give an example, because I think this can be helpful, and this is just one possible example. So if I'm working with somebody with social anxiety, I don't necessarily have a particular way of like, this is how I work with social anxiety. This is just an example. So going back to the general yoga classes, everything is very specifically tailored to you, for you. And so this is one way that I could work with it. But then if you were dealing with social anxiety, I might deal with it totally differently, because you would come as your unique self, and it would look really different, depending on how that manifests in your own body, mind, life, relationships, breath, energy. So we look at all those ways that whatever the particular challenge is, we look at all the different ways that it's impacted within your system. So if I was going to work with somebody with social anxiety, I might first understand, where does this come from? Is it maybe you were bullied in school and so it's hard to be around groups of people? Maybe you were labeled as a shy kid and that made it hard to make friends. So we have, and you probably already know this if you struggle with social anxiety, you sort of have this intellectual understanding of like, I know where it comes from, but I still get afraid every time I go into that social setting. And so we go upstream. So we work directly with the body, we work directly with the nervous system through embodiment breath practices. Then we work with the physiology to bring the body in a more balanced state, so it will support digesting the anxiety so it doesn't stay stuck in your system. And then we work with mindfulness and meditation practices, both to do in the moment that you're having it and outside the moment, to build that tolerance for going through different emotions and to start to understand the way the nervous system works through your body, not just in the thoughts about the anxiety. So yoga therapy is also more present-based and action-based. And so we might understand the past and kind of go into where some of the patterning or the conditioning came from, but we don't stop there, we don't stay there. We tend to focus on what's happening right now and what do we want to do with it as you move forward. So that's a little bit about yoga therapy, how it's different than yoga classes, how it's different than more traditional talk therapy. And for those of you who want to explore it a little bit more, I do offer free 20-minute consultations. And so this is a time just to connect and share a little bit about your experience and where you're at in your own process. And then we could determine if yoga therapy would be a good fit for you. So you can sign up for a 20-minute consultation on my website at seedyogatherapy.com, and that'll open up my calendar and you can find a spot that works for you. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.